Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tom Worth Jr. and I would say this might be a bad weekend to be the leader of Venezuela. Recall a day or two ago, I was just talking about how we just hadn't seen much in the way of Epstein files. I think it was just before some photos were released. I can't remember if I said that in one of yesterday's videos or Wednesday's. But I had said all of these distractions are working. Ukraine, Venezuela, all of it. Because we're not talking about the Epstein files released this week. And here we are coming up on the December deadline to release them. And lo and behold, the Democrats in the House released, I think it was 19 photos today. They said they have 95,000 Epstein estate photos in their possession now. And this is just to put the pressure on Trump that he does in fact have to follow the law and release all of the files by the deadline this month. So they released 19 of 95,000, and they're embarrassing. They're, not criminally indicting, but they're just embarrassing, and it reminds everyone, keeps everything top of mind that Trump, it was there, and he was buddies with this guy, and he was hanging out with these young women or young girls. We'll just they just released like 70 more. So those were earlier today, those 19, and then they just did, I think I read 70 more, and some of them have already been seen. But other ones are just like of the beach at the Virgin Islands where Epstein's property is, and some of them were like of the kitchen and stuff that we had already seen before. And it's a Friday afternoon, Friday evening, depending on where you are. And this is being done to say, we're just going to keep doing this until you release all of the files. We're just going to flood the zone with Trump and Epstein pictures and just remind people just around the clock for the next however many days and weeks that you are with Jeffrey Epstein. And how are you going to win that news cycle if you're Donald Trump? Well, there was talk about possibly him or someone in his administration heading to Europe this weekend to discuss the 20-point plan that the Europeans and Zelensky are trying to hammer out. Not the 28-point Kremlin plan, but an actual possible solution in the form of a 20-point plan. And Trump had said, maybe I'll come this weekend and discuss it, or maybe I'll send some people to discuss it this weekend. And I just don't think people are going to really care about that. What would really get the spotlight off more Epstein beach pictures that people are just going to be talking about all weekend and looking forward to tomorrow? Is the House Oversight Committee, the Democrats on that, going to release more photos tomorrow? Is this just going to be all weekend, right? And there's not much in the way of college football tomorrow. You might have the Army-Navy game, and that's about it. So how are you going to get people to not talk about this? Well, a war, that would do it. Now, I don't see a full-scale invasion. I could see launching cruise missiles at Venezuela, a country in our own hemisphere. It's unthinkable, unheard of. But just for grins, I was looking up, could we even do that? What? And I think we can, because the range of a Tomahawk cruise missile is like 1,000 miles, 1,600 kilometers. And just to see what boats we have, I know we've been positioning boats off of the coast of Venezuela and in the Caribbean lately. So I just was taking a look at what's there now. And you've got the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier. You have guided missile cruisers and guided missile destroyers, and an amphibious assault ship, and a Navy sub, all of which are capable of launching Tomahawk cruise missiles. The closest they are off the coast of Venezuela, not far off from Caracas, is 30 miles. And this information is readily available. You've got reports from people, but you also have a Navy ship positioning source, and that's all cited in those documents there. So I I don't know. I could see Trump desperate to get people to stop talking about these photos, because I think what the Democrats are doing is not doing this just for the attention, just to say we're going to keep releasing these photos. I don't know that that's the only reason. I think that they know, and they have all the photos, right? They've seen them, 95,000 photos. The Democrats on this oversight committee is, and they know what else is in those photos. And I think what they may be doing is showing these photos, but not the really damaging ones. I think they're using those as bargaining chips. They're saying to Trump, look, we have these, and you know what other photographs go along with these. And if you don't want to see those, because we can release whichever ones we want, if you don't want to see the really bad stuff that you know is the next photograph in this series, on this beach or in this room or whatever it is, if you don't want to see those, you better follow through with the release of all the Epstein files, all the testimony and all of the evidence and all of that. Because we will release these really bad photos if you don't. And these are warning shots across his bow is what I think, what I hope anyway. But to get people to not talk about this, I think it might be a good weekend for some late night pizzas to be delivered to the Situation Room, and that might be what we're talking about come tomorrow morning or Sunday morning. I don't know. Just speculation on my part. You don't position all of these boats where they have done so recently, just for no reason whatsoever. I don't see a ground assault. I see maybe launching some cruise missiles, maybe then letting Maduro know that, okay, dude, you need to leave because we're going to blow up everything if you don't walk away. Because he was not democratically elected anyway. Recall, he just seized power. So the guy needs to be removed from power. I don't think that allows Trump to go invade another country. But he does. And he already stole an oil tanker. Technically not piracy, as the Venezuelans claim. There apparently was a warrant issued in the United States, and that was a sanctioned vessel. So not really piracy, as awesome as that sounds. But Trump did just take a tanker full of oil and said, you know what, we're just going to take this and try to stop me. They did that. I think the next step is more of an attention diverter away from these photos. So we will see how that unfurls this weekend. In the meantime, you all have a good evening on this Friday night. See ya.